Hi there, Serial Trader here. Just want to do an update on Bitcoin. And since the last video, I was working that we potentially had a low in place there, basically at the beginning of the month. Technically, the very last day out in September was the low, and that here on Bitfinex was at 7733.3. And so far, that low has still held, despite us not really being able to get going anywhere. Essentially, we've been drifting sideways within a range, but I'll kind of dive into the specifics here in a moment. So overall, I am still tentatively labeling that we have our WXY correction down for this large degree wave 2, and that we're potentially starting up here for our third wave to the upside. Now, just ignore where these wave labels are. They're basically just placeholders, but I'll get in here on the shorter term time frame. Let's go on the 4-hour chart and kind of make the case here. So from that low at 77.33, we had that initial impulse wave up. On the smaller time frame, you certainly get a clean 5 waves out of it. So perhaps for a 1, 2, so we had a deep retracement on that wave, but the low held. And then we did another 5 waves up here for another 1, and now we've had a deep retracement, potentially for another wave 2. So we got the potential for a 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 3 of 3 explosion here to the upside is a possibility under this scenario. And obviously at this point, at least short term, the key level to hold here is 78.60 here on Bitfinex. Now, one thing I want to point out is just, when you're getting ready for a trend change, sometimes you get that immediate reversal and you just start immediately kind of doing a V-shaped recovery. Or you hit a bottom, and it is the bottom, but you basically got to chop around a bit, test everyone's patience, and then finally get that expected move in the other direction that you've been waiting for all along. So in this case, the second scenario is potentially in play where we have this kind of long, drawn-out bottoming process. I just want to point out, so the initial move up here off the bottom, we did... this isn't a Fibonacci number or anything, but we did a 93% retracement of that. So thoroughly testing that low, 93% retracement. And I thought, interestingly enough, we've basically duplicated this. So this is a longer impulse wave up than the first one. And we've yet again done essentially a 93% retracement. And now we've pivoted off of that. Looks like we're starting to turn back up again. So what you do want to look for in a potential 1-2, 1-2 scenario is no alternation between the corrective waves. So if you had an expanded flat here and a zigzag here, that would be alternation, and it wouldn't be as strong of a case. But when you just have something that looks basically the same, 1-2, and then a 1-2, and those two corrective waves have a similar look, in this case they're both sharp, they're not sideways corrective moves, that kind of adds some... potential that you do have that 1-2, 1-2 setup, looking for that wave 3 of 3 explosion to the upside. And if we just throw on here a base channel, so just connecting this low with the first retracement off of the first peak, we get our base channel, or our corrective channel if the bearish scenario plays out. So right now we've been unable to break out of this channel. We certainly came down here, thoroughly tested it recently, but we've bounced off of that again. And to really confirm this bullish scenario, we need to explode up here, obviously get above this high that was, let's say, 88.15 here on Bitfinex. Got to get above that and start trending outside of this corrective base channel, or I should say base channel. Now, if this bullish scenario is wrong, and it certainly could be. Let me just get to the daily chart here to clean this up. Delete all this off of here. So if that's wrong and we still need another leg down before finding the ultimate bottom, certainly possible, you can attempt to make a case that we just had a 5 up for A, 3 down for B, another 5 up for C. 5, 3, 5, ABC. Kind of 3-wave move up. Let me just get the... Sure. So you can make this case, but it's a weaker case at this point, because if you just had this ABC up 535 and looking for another leg down, you should be getting an impulse wave down to a new low to finish off this sequence. And I mean, you could kind of try and make the case that if this was your wave 2 up here, so let's just say we got our 1 down, 2 up, and I don't know, let's just say that this was our 3 wave. We'll be looking for the 4 and then the 5 to finish the move off. Now I think in the previous Bitcoin video I certainly made a reasonable case that you can already count this overall as 5 waves down completed, but just to be devil's advocate and look at the other scenario, you could possibly go 1 down, ABC up for 2. This is all of wave 3, although I don't like this scenario as much, just based on the shorter term wave patterns. And then this is just an ABC up for wave 4, and we're doing our final wave 5 down. It's possible, but again, for this to really get enforced, you got to absolutely take out this low, 77.93, and then of course this low would have to break as well at 77.33. And really, you can't really make that case at this point, since we've now tested once again. I mean, so high, higher low, higher high, again another higher low. Looks like we're turned back up again. So from a short-term trading perspective, key level to hold here is right here, and that's at 78.60. And again, that has to be correlated with whatever actual chart you're looking at. In this case, it's Bitfinex. They're all pretty similar, but there will be some differences. And so let's call this key support, 78.60, and then critical support would be this level here, 77.93. So I'm definitely leaning towards the first scenario where we got the 1-2, 1-2, and we're get ready to finally start up here in a new uptrend. But keep this in mind. If you want to try and be bearish on Bitcoin, you're obviously bearish against this level here, and that's 88.15, so right around 8,800, broadly speaking. But I'm still currently in the camp where the low is in place, and we're just building our base for the next impulse wave higher. But you certainly know the key levels that will change the short-term structure. Overall, this still looks very healthy and corrective after doing a nice 5-wave impulse sequence to the upside ending in June there. So shorter term, more patience warranted, perhaps a little bit more downside if those key levels don't hold. But overall, still very much the same expectation that we're going to have a nice move up here in Bitcoin. And hopefully our patience will get rewarded here sooner than later. But in the meantime, we just have to wait and see how it resolves. All right, Serial Trader, signing off.